Welcome back to another episode of Curios for the Curious. Today we're doing a vertical profile video to accommodate the shape of today's item. We're looking at a hand-carved, hand-painted figure musician and possibly dancing at the same time. So if we go ahead and do a quick measurement of it. We start right here. Is there a standard yardstick? Here's the edge of my finger. Put it right up against there. If I measure it to this side, try not to cheat here. Okay. So it's a little bit longer than a full yard. If I put that as the end point, it's about 38 inches, maybe a little less, 37 and 3/4 in length. So it's longer than a yard, but less than a meter. So we start by looking at the reverse side. You can see it is shaped flat, so it could be displayed either flat on some sort of a table or mantle if you have a large enough one, or this one is actually, when it was purchased, was set up for vertical hanging. So this little hang wire was included with it, and that's how I use it to display it on the wall. You see it will hang quite flush against the wall. This one has a made in Indonesia sticker, and we can see that even though it is flat, it is roughly finished in certain spots. So there's still a bit of tool marks and grain texture marks all throughout, since this is a sizable piece of wood. So they went ahead and left that to maintain the overall thickness of the shapes and contours. If we look on the edge of this figure, we can also see that even though it is roughly smooth, it is still pretty rough. As we see, if we do a full perimeter observation of the figure, we can see here we have definite tool marks still evident on the legs. Same with the other leg here. If we can get a little bit closer, you can definitely see all the grooves still there. Under the feet, they should pretty much the same roughness as around the sides. Here we also have the same tool marks, and I can definitely feel a lot of roughness on here. Here, these grooves are very pronounced. You can actually see the shadows between the ridges. Continuing along here, we can see we have more grooves, although these ones are a little bit more flush. And then a continuation of rough grooves here, here, and not much here. It's just kind of rough there. We rotate it. Here we definitely see grooves. There's kind of a gap here. Well, kind of a drop off where it goes bloop. And then the grooves here and all around. So let's go ahead and look at the headpiece. I'm trying to determine not a lot of facial features. We do have this right here, but this seems to be more of the forehead area, so this might be part of a headpiece or a headband that's coming along here, but I could be wrong. It could be an eyeball looking upwards towards the something on the upper horizon below the skyline. The head is outlined with these white dots. The side of the head has a usage of predominantly three colors: green, red, and kind of a yellowish orange. You can see that. And then they are randomly scattered around the profile. And then if we look at the hair, it's very stylized, um, perhaps gathered into loops or dreads possibly, but they could be just also just basic braids as well. I mean, they just didn't carve them to that complexity, but they did paint them. Down the centers of each of these clusters are the white dots, and then an interesting way to shade it is using what looks to be purple and then kind of a sky blue are these large painted areas of dots that continue through all of the hair clusters. If we look at the instrument that the figure is using, we have green dots, bands of white dots, although there is a little bit of traces of green in there too, so they may not have cleaned the paintbrush, or they maybe have painted them green and decided to highlight them in white. Again, the usage of this yellowish dot pattern, more bands of white dots, although you can see that these ones are touching and these ones are spaced out more similarly as up here. And then the end of the instrument are these red dots. So again, the reusage of the same dots in here, which were more randomly scattered, and then to represent the instrument as a solid object. If we look at the neck region and continuing down the back, we see these circular patterns used with the yellow and the red, so you can see alternating how they've done that, all the way down to the waist area. You can see here kind of delineating the shoulders versus the arms, this pattern of the white dots, but then these kind of triangular scales that come up pointing this way. If we look at the arms themselves, we can see right away large sky blue dots, and then the remainder of the space is filled with the small dot pattern, again using the sky blue. It's kind of interesting. If we look at the waist, again, usage of the white dots and negative space here, similarly as the bands on the instrument, and then again usage of the white dots in these triangular scale patterns. A return of the purple in kind of the top portion of this loin covering area, and then it kind of randomly, jaggedly blends into sky blue, and then at the hemline of the garment are these stripes of white dots, negative space, and then green dots running down the middle of the hem. If we get the leggings, you can see that they are colorful as well. We have reds, yellows on both. Again, triangular patterns of white dots. And then now, a similar usage of the large dots, but this time in green, and then the remainder of the lower legs being filled with the smaller green dots. At the ankles are these bands of white dots, and on both feet we can see red and yellow dots. See all of that there. Again, I can't get all of this in its entirety into frame, but maybe we can get at least one of the feet in there. So, it's been a look at a hand-painted, wood carved Indonesian art piece of a musician, dancing musician. Feel free to check out other Curios for the Curious videos on the channel. We also do unboxing videos as well as show and tell videos on vintage milsurp tools and other expanded topics. And we also do a series of book review media reviews. Feel free to check all those out. Feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.